श्रीला गुरुदेव की जय, श्रीमन महाप्रभु की जय, श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतन की जय, श्री गोपी गीत की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंद हरि बोल। So, good afternoon to all of you. Again, thanks for coming. And today we are finally in our last meeting of our series of lectures of GOPI GITA. We are completing today 25 lectures. So today we are in the last part of the whole series, in the second part of our conclusion. Yesterday we tried to make some conclusion, giving more context to what happened after the GOPI GITA, after Krishna reappeared in the midst of the gopis. So we studied a little bit chapter 32, and today we will be finishing our whole series by studying chapter 33, called the Rasa Dance itself, and thus closing the whole study, if you will, of the GOPI GITA, and also in a little bit not so detailed way, but in a general way, of the Rasa Panchadhyaya as well, the 5 chapters dealing with the Rasa Lila. So before going to today's topic, let's make some summary of what we saw yesterday. Yesterday we were going through chapter 32, called the Reunion. We already had studied in detail the first 2 verses of this chapter, which are generally included as part of the GOPI GITA, verse 1 and 2. So we mainly discussed from verse number 3 till the last verse of the chapter, 22nd verse. So after GOPI GITA finished and Krishna reappeared in the midst of the gopis, remember the gopis were thrown in the floor in the 10th stage of separation, described by Rupa Goswami, called death, basically, about to leave everything. So they were not aware that Krishna was in their midst. They were crying profusely. So eventually they get to have a glimpse of Krishna, and the very first reaction was, we are hallucinating. That's not actually Krishna. But eventually when they realized Krishna is here in our midst, so they stand up and they started to look at him with open eyes, and feeling like their prana was coming back, their life was coming back to them. So then Sukadev described how different gopis interacted with Krishna in different ways according to the group they belonged, the moods they had. Some of them taking Krishna's hand, taking Krishna's tambul, putting Krishna's feet on their breasts, embracing Krishna mentally. And some other gopis looking at him in a sulky mood, with angry eyes, furrowed brows. Now this is the Bhamya Bhav, mode of Radha and her Sakhis, and her gopis. And Krishna mainly attracted in that direction, it is said by the Purvacharyas. Krishna's attention was mainly captured by the most unsubmissive, contrary, if you will, group of gopis. Eventually it is described how Krishna, being there in the middle, in the center, and all the gopis around him, he was looking more beautiful than ever. He already was more beautiful than ever in his presentation of the Cupid of Cupids, as we already mentioned, Sakshan Manmata Manmataha. But now, being fully surrounded by his potencies, he presented himself in a very unique way. So then Sukadev Goswami describes how he's taking the gopis with him to the banks of the Jamuna, and how time stood still, and the whole night of Brahma still was there. The night already was gone in normal terms, but moon was still there, full moon was still there, supporting in a supporting role for the whole Rasa Lila. So Krishna sat on the soft sands of the Jamuna, and the gopis started to worship him in different ways, with glances, with smiles, and those are the main elements, items of artik, if you will, in that realm, if you will. There's artik for Narayan and Vishnu, but for Krishna the offering is with other more immediate elements. So Krishna sat there, gopis worshipped him, he began to joke with them. So eventually, before the Rasa Lila will restart, as we will see today, the gopis have something to ask Krishna. They wanted to know, why you disappear from us? So we mentioned that the Manjaris were the ones who presented him a riddle about, in order to solve the whole situation. So yesterday also, Archon Siddhi made these questions about where this is stated that the Manjaris are the ones who actually presented this riddle, and I was doing some research according to my sources, and actually, as I mentioned yesterday, that I thought it was actually Guru Maharaj himself in his aesthetic Vedanta, and that is it. He mentioned that in his aesthetic Vedanta. He mentioned the Manjaris 2 times. The Manjaris were the ones who put their shawl for Krishna to sit when they went to the banks of the Jamuna. He mentions the Manjaris, and eventually, when the riddle section comes, he mentions again the Manjaris are the ones who are inquiring from Krishna. He's not quoting any praman or evidence from where he's mentioning that, so that thing, as Archon Siddhi, should ask Guru Maharaj. But I did my homework. So the point is that the Manjaris present, the Gopis present the riddle, as you like to conceive it, and they presented, this spoke about three types of lovers. They asked Krishna, wanting to know, in which category are you there? Which of these categories of lovers do you belong to? So the first one is the one who love others only when they reciprocate. The second is the one who love others even when they do not reciprocate. And the third one is the one who do not reciprocate in either case. To reply to this riddle, Krishna explained that, of course, he first of all may share some words about these 3 types. He said those who love only when others reciprocate do not love at all. They're just merchants. And those who love when they get nothing in return, those people are merciful. They love in accordance with Dharma. And those who do not care for the love of others, or for those who do not love them, he expanded the list and he are 4 types. So he mentioned the materially fulfilled, the ungrateful, the envious, and the self-realized sage. So the point is, I won't enter into full detail, but Krishna presented all these like full parade of possibilities, but eventually he wanted to say, I do not belong to any of those classes, and the Gopis reached the same conclusion. Krishna is in his own category as Rasaraj, the real true lover, connoisseur of love, as well as the Gopis are in their own category of lovers. Their love is unique, and Krishna is a unique lover, the unique Nayaka. So the point is, so if Krishna didn't disappear and reappear for any of the reasons mentioned above of these different types of lover, which was the reason for him to disappear? So he mentioned that very clear in a very deep and charming way. So basically he said to the Gopis, I do not reciprocate. I did not apparently reciprocate when your love, only for the purpose of increasing your own love. Because I love you, I want the best for you. The best for you is love. So for love's own sake, basically, I act like that. And then we spoke about how we should understand God's response to us in that same focus on some level or another. His only dharma is to increase our eagerness for love. So sometimes he will reply in one way, sometimes in another one. So when the Gopis realized this, the real reason behind Krishna disappearing, in their humility they started to criticize themselves for having criticized Krishna. No? He was so noble in his purpose, he only disappeared for our sake. And eventually we finished our meeting by quoting the very last verse of chapter 32. Naparayam nirabadya sanjayam, and so on. When Krishna is saying to the Gopis, I cannot repay back your love for you even in the day of Brahma. You have cut with all domestic ties, with all attachments, which are so very difficult to break. So let your own glorious deeds be your compensation. Your love is its own reward, basically. So by saying this, Krishna is saying, I cannot reciprocate. He's contradicting himself to what he said in the Gita. He declares how he's defeated by the Gopis' love. He mentions that he's eternally indebted to them, even though he may try to pay that debt, because he's divided in so many devotees that he has to reciprocate with, and so on. So we tried to discuss a little bit the content of this verse, also given the famous example of a teacher with the students, putting the students to test, but eventually the teacher realizing, oh, my students are higher than me. Krishna having this experience by seeing Radha Bhav, the Gopis in separation, especially Radha Bhav flourishing in Vipralamba, and Krishna reaching the point of wanting to know that experience, and all this giving place to a whole new lila, Gaur lila. which was not in Krishna's original agenda. When he disappeared from the gopis, he wanted to increase their love, he wanted to make the world know about their love, the glory of their love, but now this love overflowed till a point that he himself became curious about wanting to have a particular experience of that. So that's mainly what we saw yesterday, reaching this high point of the Bhagavad, very high apex with the Gopi Gita, and Gaur Lila manifesting in the depths of Braja Lila. So today we will continue with the very last chapter of the Rasa Panchadhyaya, 33rd chapter, called the Rasa Dance, which will have 39 verses. We won't go one after the other. We will summarize all of them, and maybe we mention here one or another. So in this point, Krishna will restart the Rasa Lila that was interrupted in the very beginning with a very compelling purpose that he has just explained here. So let's go to chapter 33, which will be today's topic. So Krishna revealed his heart to the gopis, as we have just seen. He revealed his mind. He explained himself, so the gopis felt themselves reassured. Because not only Krishna mitigated the gopis' pangs of separation in his presence, that's one important thing, but also at this point, by hearing Krishna's real intention and real love for them, the gopis were now free from the fear that Krishna might disappear again. Because they knew, they got this reassurance. They knew he was theirs. Krishna belongs to them. So they reached out to Krishna, and they lovingly touched him. It is mentioned in the Bhagavad. So after this reassurance, it was a very ideal moment to restart the Rasa dance. So Krishna began the Rasa dance again. He said to the gopis, we are in Vrindavan, here is Vrindavan, where full moon autumn shining. You gopis are present here, I'm here, and you are present here with all your skills, which also doesn't only mean they dance nicely, sing nicely, but upgraded rasa. Through all this experience of separation and increasing of love and churning of the heart, now all your skills are fully present here. All the rasa has reached a new, updated, upgraded version, and now this will really deserve to be called Rasa Lila, or Rasa with the long A, as Rasa Lila is mentioned. Real Rasa, not mere Rasa. So Krishna says, here we are, Vrindavan, autumn full moon, you with all full skill. I'm so pleased that the exact precise moment has come for the proper relishment of these mellows. So he's saying to the gopis basically, dear woman, what else can be done except celebrate? And what can I do to celebrate except have a rasa dance? Because you can do so many things to celebrate life, but the real, topmost, ultimate celebration, the crown jewel of all celebrations, is Rasa Lila. That's why the parallel version of it in Gaur Lila is Sankirtan, Rasa Sankirtan, as Mahaprabhu exhibited with Srivas and his associates in Sriva Sangam. So Rasa Kirtan could be translated as celebration. It's a celebration of life, a celebration of one's own fullness, as Guru Maharaj will say. It's a movement in fullness. A movement is love, not a movement out of emptiness. That's karma. So here we're speaking about a movement out of fullness, when each step will be a dance, and so on. Each word a song. Every word is celebration in Sankirtan. So Krishna is concluding here, we have to celebrate, because every item, every element is in its perfect place. Everything is at proper udipana. So what else can be done except celebrate? That's the absolute we worship. Someone who is totally surrendered to celebration, to kirtan, to dancing, to chanting. And what's the best way of celebrating apart from rasa dance? So we have to understand this conception of rasa lila. That's the ultimate moment of celebration in the life of the Absolute. So Guru Maharaj in his aesthetic Vedanta comments at this point that Krishna at this moment, he then instructed the gopis, the jewel-like gopis, he gives some analogy here. Krishna instructed the jewel-like gopis to link their arms together, and in this way forming a circle but he continues with the jewel analogy. So he says, he instructed the gopis to link their arms together, thus forming a necklace of pearls around the sapphire of himself. Krishna is the sapphire in the center, the gopis are pearls around the sapphire. So Guru Maharaj continues, in order to share himself with all the gopis, Krishna produced expansions of his own form, such that the Krishna sapphire became faceted between each gopi pearl of this necklace of love, the Rasa Mandal. So Rasa Mandal means generally circle, but also means in this case necklace. Necklace is circular. So we are speaking about, in poetic terms, about a circle of love or a necklace of love. And the necklace is made of sapphire, pearl, Krishna, Gopi intertwined there. So the crest jewel of all Leelas. And crest jewel, literally, they give the example of a jewel, if you will. No? So Krishna was thinking at this point, in this connection, if I enter between each pair of gopis, the arrangement will be perfect. Now he's thinking about static terms. He's an obsessionate person with static sensibilities, rasic sensibilities. So he's thinking, what's the best way I may present myself here? So if I enter between each pair, the arrangement will be perfect. So as Krishna was thinking like this, just thinking like that, and concluding that will be perfect, immediately the desire was fulfilled. No? Because his Sakta Sankalpa means whatever he even wishes, it becomes immediately a fact, reality. So he was between each gopi, but it is mentioned by some Purvacharas that even Krishna did not know exactly how it happened. No? In the dynamics of his Madhurya Lila, he expressed this mode of mugdata, of being bewildered by the arrangements of Lila Shakti, Yogamaya. Bhagavatam also is mentioning in the third canto how Krishna possesses a form that is suitable for human pastimes to show the full capacity of his Yogamaya. When Krishna appears in Nara Lila, Braja Lila especially, that allows Yogamaya to exhibit her full capacity. And it is said that human form, accompanied by the full expression of Yogamaya, even astonishes the Lord of Vaikuntha Narayan. That form is the pinnacle of auspicious qualities and param padambhushana bhushanangam, and is the ornament of its ornaments. So Bhagavatam is repeatedly glorifying Krishna's Nara Lila and and those arrangements that allow for a Nara Lila, which means Yogamaya has to be there, Purnamasi, and so on. So Krishna expanded himself between every two gopis, and he simultaneously stood in the center of the Rasa Lila. Don't forget this part. He was not only diluted around in the Rasa Mandal, but he was standing in the center of the Rasa Mandal only with Sri Radha, the prime jewel there, the prime gopi. So in this way it appeared that as to his dance with all the gopis, that dance was intended to ornament the jewel of his love for her. Whatever he was doing in his expansions around, all that was serving whatever he was doing, not in his expansion, but in his original form with his Adi Shakti Sri Radha. We have to remember, all this is revolving around Sri Radha, revolving around the principle of divine love. She is the one, the most excellent gopi, as the Deva Mai Prokta. How they say the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Devi Krishna Mai Prokta Radhika Paradevata Sarva Lakshmi Mai Sarva Kanti Sanmohini Pura. She's Paradevata, the supreme goddess. Devi Krishna Mai Prokta, she's Devi. Devi has to do with play, with Deva, so she's the stage, the playground on which Krishna executes his play, his lila. Krishna Mai, she's filled with Krishna in every sense, in every direction, in his consciousness. She's really Krishna consciousness personified. She's Radhika Paradevata, the supreme goddess. Sarva Lakshmi Mai Sarva Kanti Sanmohini Pura. She's supreme enchanter. She's full of all fortune, of all wealth, of all luster, and so on. So she's the most excellent gopis, and she's the very cause of the Rasa Lila, as we mentioned. The underlying support for all this Rasa Lila is Sri Radha. It is even mentioned this in the Radha Satanama Stotram, when there are certain numbers of a number of names for Radha are mentioned. And one name is Rasa Kridam Karanam. Rasa Kridam Karanam. Karanam means cause, and Kridam means lila, play. So she's the cause of the Rasa Lila. And she's the source of that. She's the one fueling this whole dynamics. So the Rasa dance started. So as this started, the gopis started to move, to dance. Their ankle bells were there, their bangles, the bracelets, all of them were shimmering. It is described, keeping time, trying to enter into the rhythm and the melody. But with their dancing and moving, all these ornaments were keeping time with their steps. And in this way they were orchestrating a whole concert, a divine symphony, that even it is said that the heavenly denizens had never witnessed. And then they will appear on stage and they will be totally dumbfounded by that. Even it is described poetically, artistically and realistically that all of nature's movements personified, like the gods of sun, moon, wind, stars, along with their wives, the goddesses, all the personifications of the movements of nature became captivated by the dancing of the gopis and the dancing of Gopal. So different airplanes came, celestial airplanes were lined in the sky, and they forming, like Guru Maharaj describes, like a concert auditorium, like having darshan of the dancing and the singing of the music of this divine drama, this theatrical transcendental performance. So the devas appeared there and they started to play their own instruments. And there were the Gandharvas, Apsaras, different heavenly dancers and singers. So they're trying to present, to offer, to share some musical accompaniment. So in this way, the eternal dance of love, at this point, Guru Maharaj mentions in his aesthetic Vedanta, and some commentators do as well. This eternal dance of love, Rasa Lila, gave birth to the different raga and ragini, which means the different melodic movements in classical music of India, which has the male expression raga and the female expression ragini. So it is said that there are 16,000 principal expressions of this, and all of these were expanding in this precise moment by the inspiration of Rasa Lila. Even also it is said not only in terms of music but also in terms of dance. All this had its beginning here. All forms of classical dance moved into the world as well at this moment. All this really is considered as being revealed by the heavenly denizens. So that happened when they were inspired by witnessing this Rasa Lila. But the poets actually at that point praised Sri Radha, mentioning that she is who made all the ragas the Deva created useless. Not useless. Like on one level we have, all these ragas, raginis and dances that we know in the world were revealed by the Devas from celestial realm, inspired as an offering for the Rasa Lila, but the Rasa Lila is on top of whatever the Devas can offer. So the poets are praising Srimati Radha Thakurani, who made all the ragas that the Devas created useless, implying her own melody, her own rhythm, her own dancing was reigning supreme, even above Krishna's flute. This is described in the scriptures over and over again. Above Krishna's flute is Radha's ankle bells. When she's moving and dancing, that makes Krishna's flute to tremble and fall to the ground. So it is described, Guru Maharaj very poetically describes in his aesthetic Vedanta, that Rasa Lila aside, every movement of the gopis was itself dance and every word was song, as the Brahma Samhita classically describes. And Jiva Goswami presents the question, if every movement is dance, if every word is song, what's their actual song and dance? They are dancing and singing here, actually. So what must that be? Basically, that's the idea. We cannot imagine. So at this point, the heavenly denizens were accompanying and flowers were raining from the sky. The Devas and Devis were announcing by this. They were approving the whole affair. So the point is, by doing that, Guru Maharaj says, they were announcing the religious nature of the affair. Because the Devas are Suras, are people who are supporting Dharma, supporting religion. Even though sometimes they behave a little bit weird, in a weird way. But general rule is Devas are against the demons and the demons are against Dharma. So Devas are supporting virtue and good behavior. So if the Devas and all the Devas and all the Devis are here celebrating, glorifying that, they're throwing the raining of flowers implies devas are approving the event. So if the devas are with religion, it means this event is religious, at least. Actually, it's supra-religious. It's super-transcendental. Even though the devas, Guru Maharaj says, they were announcing the religious nature of the affair, even without fully understanding its import. They were not fully capable of grasping what's really going on here. That's when Krishna is playing his flute in the Venu Gita. Yes, the Devis are flying the airplanes with their husbands and they are affected by the flute, but they are not fully drinking what the gopis are drinking, for example, or what the Brajavasis generally are drinking at those moments. So at this moment, again, the Devas are celebrating that, even without fully catching what's going on. Even some acharyas mentioned that Yogamaya in this moment arranged everything so expertly that the men of heaven could see the dancing of Krishna, but not of his beloved gopis, because they didn't have adhikar for that. The ladies had a little bit more, Devis had a little bit more adhikar for having darshan of the gopis as well, along with Krishna. But the male devas, they were only seeing Krishna dancing, but that for them was just worthy of a torrent of flowers, flower rain. So in this way, full Rasa Lila is being blooming, is being celebrated. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he also mentions in his Sarartha Darshini that it is said that Krishna was present as one of the ingredients of the festival. Try to imagine, Krishna Jewel is not just an ingredient, but Krishna is Krishna, the Supreme God. But in the context of the greatness of Rasa Lila, Krishna becomes one of the many ingredients that make for the Rasa Lila. The point is, here nobody wants to also be in the limelight. All of them are just fueling the festival itself. All of them are surrendered to nurture the spirit of celebration, which is the real center of the whole thing, love. Divine love being exchanged. So Vishwanath mentions this. It is said that Krishna was present as one of the ingredients of the festival. In this way, more than Krishna himself, more than all his energies, and more than all his other pastimes, he mentions, the supreme position of the Rasotsav, or the great festival of Rasa, Rasa Lila, is proclaimed throughout the universe. So this Rasa Lila is about Krishna's energies, about all his other pastimes, because this represents Krishna, of course, his energies, and the substratum of all his other pastimes plus something else. It's representing the ultimate, again, upgraded version of whatever we may conceive as Krishna Lila. So that's how the acharyas have been emphasizing this Rasa Lila as the crown jewel of all Lilas. Very, very extraordinarily and expertly presented in the midst of the Bhagavad in a very particular way. And after that, whatever remains from the Bhagavad is like an afterthought of this apex, this climax of the Bhagavad. Also, regarding Krishna's union with the gopis here, Krishna's combination in dancing and movement under particular different lusters, it is said that Krishna's complexion, as we already mentioned, is compared to a sapphire, a blue sapphire. And the gopis' complexion is can compare to golden vine, or whatever analogy you may like, but you have blue on one side and golden on the other side. So you know what happens when you mixed blue and yellow. You have another color there called green. So here the acharyas mentioned that although Krishna's complexion resembles a blue sapphire, but mixing with the golden pearl, if you will, like bodies of the gopis in the Rasa Lila, he manifested a splendid emerald-like color. Marakattamani. Marakattamani means referring to the emerald. So at that moment, because of the intertwining of the combination of the melting in love with the gopis, with the melting. We are not speaking in terms of Sankara's Advaita Vedanta here. No, we are entering to Brahman melting, if you will, there, but melting of hearts, melting of love. So Krishna appeared himself in this green emerald-like color. Interestingly, this was the favorite color of Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta. It is well known. He painted his altars in this color, and many things he liked to paint in emerald color. So most probably this may be connected to this particular description and aspect, since he is one of the ones serving intimately in these dynamics. So in this way, Krishna and the gopis were joining together, dancing. The gopis, the different forms of Krishna, the expansion, were joining hands in this circular dance. At one moment they separated their hands to the beat of the music. Remember, they were dancing, they were following the music with their movements and with their steps. They were drawing various mudras and gestures appropriate for the bhav of the moment. And quickly it is said that their minds reached the height of satisfaction. They were experiencing topmost delight. After the long, again, agony of separation, you see the purpose of that is now they are touching heaven, if you will. And eventually they again joined their hands in the bliss of rasa dance. And in this way the rasa dance was continuing in a perfect and more perfect way. An eternal becoming of perfection. And there again, the presiding, even it is said that the presiding deities of the instruments appeared there. Not only the devas are there with instruments, but the instruments themselves had their presiding deities. So these deities appeared there to make their life successful. That was their feeling. No? If we can justify our existence, it's by appearing in this particular moment. So it is said, amazingly, at that point, the instruments were sounding without anyone having to play them, because the very personification of those instruments were there, trying to make their life successful and offering their particular tunes and melodies and rhythms to the best possible degree, trying to join whatever already the Krishna and the gopis were creating by their own dancing, singing. At one point in the midst of this, the Bhagavad, this is described without giving names, but the Acharyas share some names, that a gopi, in this case the Acharyas referred to Vishaka gopi, was singing in accompaniment with Krishna, going to a little bit more detailed description here. And it is said that the song she was singing, her song was so pure regarding tune, and we have many details, musical, technical details given here, especially by Kavi Karnapur, his Ananda Vrindavan Shampu. Different technical musical terms and so on. So Vishaka's song was so pure, was totally a mixed rendering. This is called Swarajati, of a particular scale. So he was showing this aesthetic capacity, and Krishna was amazed. No, you won't amaze Krishna so easily, but he was really amazed, and he was thinking, other than me, no one knows the real nature of music. Krishna's music himself with his flute next to him, but he was wondering, apart from me, nobody knows about this. So therefore, how is that she's singing so perfectly? So in this way, Krishna started to glorify, praise her, and remarking, excellent, very well done, sadhu, sadhu. And it is said in Sanskrit, sadhu, sadhu means like bravo, bravo, glorification. And after that, Lalita appeared in the scene after Vishaka, and she echoed Vishaka by singing. In this case, something called Dhruva Tala, which means Dhruva means fixed and Tala means rhythm. So she was singing in a very steady rhythm. And Krishna even more appreciated that particular presentation. So in this way, the different gopis were presenting their offerings to Krishna, and Krishna was reciprocating, glorifying them, accompanying them. So Radha was very pleased to see Krishna's reactions to the singing of her intimate friends, Vishaka, Lalita. So when he saw Radha appreciating that, Krishna appreciated their song even more. And he indicated that through the sound of his flute. He started to accompany and play the flute. So they were sharing messages, they were sharing emotions in the language of art, in the language of song, poetry, dancing. That's what art is for. That's the original purpose, at least for us Gaudiyas. Why dance, music, drama is there, only to recreate what has been originally presented, and is eternally presented in an eternal becoming in Krishna Lila, and very specifically Rasa Lila. This is a very concentrated, condensed artistic performance in every sense of the term. So Krishna was trying to reciprocate with the gopis by his flute playing. And at this point, Radha is described as being a little bit tired from the dancing. It's a very dynamic, intense performance. So she threw her arm around Krishna's shoulder here, Again, this is described in the Bhagavatam without names, and our Goswamis are revealing which verse belongs to which gopi, basically. So at this point, Radha, her bracelets were loosened, and her flower fell from her hair. And it is said that Krishna, Guru Maharaj mentions here very nicely, although Krishna is known to exhibit 4 arms in places other than Braj, Krishna is not exhibiting 4 arms in Braj, save with some exception when, he wanted sometimes to play with the gopis and appeared as Narayan, but not as Krishna with 4 arms, but he disguised himself as Narayan. But now we are with Krishna in his most Krishna-like appearance. As the more Radha is there, the more Krishna is there. So Guru Maharaj mentions Krishna is not known for exhibiting 4 arms in Vrindavan. He's known for exhibiting 4 arms in Dwarka and Mathura sometimes here and there. But the point is that at this particular time, Krishna was playing his flute with 2 arms, but simultaneously he was embracing all the gopis with 2 arms. So simultaneously this was taking place. Guru Maharaj makes the remark, such is the opulence of love, that far exceeds all other opulences. So in the realm of opulence, per se, Aishvarya, you go to Vaikuntha, you have Narayan with 4 arms. In the realm of Dwarka, you have some Aishvarya, mainly Aishvarya and some Madhurya. So Krishna in Dwarka is 4-armed also. In Mathura is more Madhurya, but there is some Aishvarya. So sometimes he showed 4 arms. But in Vrindavan, it is said there is only Madhurya, and Aishvarya is totally buried by the intimacy. But here he's showing 4 arms. But again, this is the opulence, the Aishvarya of Madhurya, Prema Madhurya, the intimate love that allows him to embrace the gopis and play his flute. All these gestures, embracing and playing flute, are totally in the context of intimacy. So, in this way, the Bhagavad is describing in detail about Krishna's reciprocity with the gopis. I won't go into this detail here, but this is mentioned in the Bhagavad, how he interacted with each and every gopi in different ways, according to the different addressing to him. So, when the dance reached a climax, because there are newer climaxes, of course, so when the dance reached a particular climax, let's say, some acharyas describe how Krishna was touching the gopis' left breasts with his right hand. And while doing that, he was counting the tal. Tal means the rhythm of the music on their breasts. He was tapping his fingers to the beat in a very nocti and playful way. He was following the rhythm by romantic interaction. Also, some other way that acharyas describe this is that Krishna performed achaman. Generally, we do that by putting Ganga water, Om Narayanaya Namaha, and so on. But in the context of Rasa Lila, Krishna was performing achaman using Sri Radha's Adaramrita, taking the nectar from Radha's lips. That was how he was purifying himself. So in this way, all the different activities that generally we understand them in a particular way, how do you follow a rhythm, how do you perform achaman, and so on. Krishna was doing that, all of that in the context of romantic interaction with the gopis. So approximately in the middle, we are now approximately in the middle of the chapter, so let's quote one verse, which is verse number 16. Interesting one. Here it is said that in this way, Shukadev says to Parikshit, the original Lord Narayan, Sri Krishna, master of the goddess of fortune, because the original Krishna, the original Lord Narayan, who is the master of the goddess of fortune, took pleasure in the company of the young woman of Raj, by embracing them, by caressing them, glancing lovingly at them, and as he smiled, his broad, playful smiles. So, and it concludes by saying, it was just as if a child were playing with his own reflection. So again, here's an important theological and theological point that Sukadeva is trying to make in the midst of such level of intimacy. Again, remember, he was playing in this, he was in trance, of course, in Samadhi Bhashya, speaking to Parikshit, but there was a multitude of people there. There was a variegated audience, not all of them were pure devotees, not all of them were devotees even. Many people arrive there by knowing, oh, the emperor of the world is about to leave the world and he's for a week hearing confidential topics, so let's go there. So many people was there. So somehow or other, Sukadeva was inserting in between his intimate narration, or he was inspired to do so, he was making so many points of tattva in order to show this is not a mundane affair. Again, the Devas are approving the religious nature of the whole meeting, and now he's mentioning Krishna was with the gopis, and in such level of climax of rasa dance, Krishna drinking the nectar of Radha's lips, touching the gopis' breast playfully, you may think anything if you are not in proper stance. So he's saying, and he's making another point to take care of the audience, if you will, of all of us. It was just as if a child were playing with his own reflection. So here the gopis are being described as reflections of Brahman. Brahman means the absolute, Krishna, in this case. No? So through them, through that reflection, Brahman enjoys himself in eternity. He is speaking, implying something in more technical terms, more tattva-like expression. And through the gopis, if you will, through his reflection, Krishna is seeing and experiencing himself more fully. That's the purpose and the nature of Shakti, especially Swarup Shakti. That enables Brahman, the Absolute, to experience himself more fully. And that's why, from time immemorial, if you will, Brahman exists along with this Shakti. Ekobahu Sham, the one becomes many for the purpose of rasa. Rasu Vayu Saha, Rasiye Bayam Ladvanandi Vavati. So although they are different from him, the point is here they are simultaneously non-different from him because they are his Shaktis, Achintya Bheda Bhed. So Sukadeva is invoking this Achintya Bheda Bhed sensibility here in order to understand. We are speaking about Shaktimam and Shakti, Brahman, his reflection, the Absolute and his inseparable energies. So there's no fault, the point is, in this interaction that in the context of Bhava, Lila, Rasa may take the form of something apparently immoral. But again, if you have in mind, present in your mind, this philosophical conclusion, this Siddhanta, on the basis of the foundation of that Siddhanta and Tattva, you will be able to, as Guru Maharaj will say, now that's the canvas on which the Lila, the art of Krishna Lila is being drawn. So after this, Guru Maharaj mentions in his aesthetic Vedanta, gradually the gopis' dance of love fatigued them. But he makes the point clear. You may think, oh, they were fatigued, they were tired of something so ecstatic and nice. So he makes the point. Actually, the dance itself, it was not, however, the dance itself that caused this fatigue, as much as their further interest in love that was burning in them, that was some eagerness was fatiguing them, if you will. So their minds, Guru Maharaj mentions, racing for love. Krishna suggested a game of hide and seek, in which he hid and all the gopis individually found him. So another way of turning the heart, another way of continuing upgrading the rasa experience. So Krishna realized the gopis' fatigue and realized more, even especially realized their interest in love. So Krishna at this point is removing the perspiration from the brows and the faces of the gopis with his loving hand. In the midst of this hide and seek play, he adjusted the gopis' garments which were in disarray. He was addressing their state of disarray, but by doing that, he was addressing as well the gopis' desire, by entering the direct contact with Krishna. And regarding their tears, Guru Maharaj mentioned, for their tears, he replaced them with his own. So they were crying now, but there was a different type of tears, as we remember. You can cry in the extreme suffering of separation, or you can cry in extreme joy of divine union. So at every single moment, we hear about this description. Both in union and separation, Krishna and the gopis are crying for different reasons. All of that, of course, in the context of ecstasy and divine love. But different shades and waves of this love. But crying is there. You see many pictures when you see Krishna and Radha are meeting romantically and both of them are crying, but smiling so sweetly. So generally you don't find such a scenario in a lusty frame of a picture in this world. You are not crying ecstatically. So, after Krishna did all that, he addressed the gopis in this way, he played with them, After that, Krishna, like a lordly elephant, he's described by Sukadev. Then he entered the Yamuna. As the elephant is entering the water with the she-elephants, this mad young elephant, intoxicated young mad elephant of Braj, that's one name of Krishna. Krishna receives many names connected to different animals, according to the particular lila. Sometimes, regarding to Radha's lips, he will be compared as a Vrindavan parrot. No? So the manjaris will paint Radha's lips, decorate with a particular color, bimba fruit-like, so they know, oh, the parrot, the Vrindavan parrot will be attracted to come and bite the fruit, and after that the fruit will become even sweeter. So sometimes Krishna is the Vrindavan parrot, sometimes Krishna is described as the young, intoxicated, mad elephant of Braj. Sometimes he's described as a chakora bird who only is drinking the nectar race of the moon. In the same way, when Krishna is drinking the beauty of Radha's moon-like face. So in this way, we find many beautiful poetic analogies, animal-like from the animal kingdom, describing how Krishna's been affected by the impact of his Swarup Shakti. So here he's described as a lordly elephant, entering the Jamuna with the gopis, and they're sporting further there. So the games now entering into the water games, Jala Keli. So they enter the water, like Guru Maharaj mentioned, all this in apparent violation of moral and Vedic injunctions. One boy with many ladies entering the water with not that much clothes and playing there. It seems that it's a total transgression of Vedic law. But again, we are speaking about the trans morality here. So here the gopis were splashing Krishna from all sides. Actually, all this has a very, philosophical interpretation, if you will, symbol. No? Gopis splashing Krishna from all sides means they're moistening him with their love. And this water represents prem. Remember, we are in Vrindavan. Everything here is made of affection. Water itself. So water is affection itself, and it goes with a particular intention sent by the gopis, thrown by the gopis, particular loving intentions. So Krishna is receiving that love in the form of water itself, in the form of how the gopis are sending that. So he's being bathed by love. That's the real idea of Abhishek. We are bathing the Lord with love. It's not yogurt, it's not honey, it's not ghee, it's not water, it's affection. Moistening. He becomes nurtured and moistened in affection. While at the same time the gopis were splashing him and they were gazing at him very affectionately. And in this simultaneously the devas were worshipping the whole scene. Again, showering further flowers from heaven. So try to imagine the whole stage, the whole scenario, the very perfect consummation of divine love. So after the water games, it is said that they went out of the Jamuna and Krishna sported throughout the forest with the gopis. They were walking here and there, like wandering there, contemplating the different sections of the forest, and of course having different romantic, loving interactions. With the night air, it is described as filled with the scent of all the forest flowers, the lilies, the bumming of the bumblebees, and the different, again, forest deities and species there doing their best for be part of such a lila. And finally, as the night came to a close, after one night of Brahma, because again, this night is never ending, as we mentioned. So many things have been going on from the very beginning of the Gopi Gita, and even before that, when Krishna was playing his flute, this was already full moon night. So many things happened in these 5 chapters of the Bhagavad. So eventually, finally, the night came to a close. Remember, the sun was also asking for his chance of having darshan, having opportunity for seva. So after one entire night of Brahma, the night came to a close, and at this point Krishna is advising the gopis, return home. After the same thing he said in the beginning of Rasa Lila, but now after having enjoyed with them. So now the idea carries another purport. So Krishna advised the gopis to return home. Why? Daylight is coming, so we need to keep our affair a secret, and thus preserve its thrilling sweetness. And this is what means parakiya bhav. We have a secret affair, nobody else knows about this. All of the Brajavasis, they say, suspect something, they feel something is going on between Krishna and the gopis, but but they do not grasp the whole dimension of what's going on, the whole reality of Madhurya and Parakya Bhava. But all of them know something is happening between Krishna and the gopis, something special. But they cannot fully realize how special this is. No? So this is Parakya Bhava. Parakya Bhava, this is important, not Parakya. This is Parakya in Bhava, not Parakya in Tattva. We have Tattva Vichar and Ras and Bhava Vichar, the consideration of Tattva and the consideration of Bhava. In Tattva, the gopis are not Parakya. The gopis do not belong to another, to someone else. Parakya means belonging to someone else. In Tattva, in metaphysics, in philosophy, the gopis only belong to Krishna. So you will never hear Parakya Tattva. Because in Tattva, the gopis are Swakya. They belong to Krishna. But in Bhav, the feeling, the Bhav, the sensation, the sense is, I belong to someone else. Although in certain level, I have a husband, in certain level, I have this and this. But in Bhav, in feeling, I feel I belong to Krishna, even though I belong to someone else. So the point is, the gopis experience Parakya Bhav. So their Parakya is in Bhav Vichar, in the consideration of how they feel. But in Tattva, the reality of the whole affairs, they do not belong to anyone else. So that helps to make the case for this being a totally trans-moral and proper, correct situation and more. So Krishna advised the gopis, return so we can continue nourishing this Parakya. That's the whole thing. It's not return because I don't want to be with you, because this Parakya gives a unique sweetness, a unique sense of risk, a unique thrilling, whatever, no? Vertiginous, I don't know if that word is correct in English, feeling. So that's a very particular thing of the Parakya Bhava. So in order to keep that upgraded, you need to retire now, and we will meet each other. So the gopis returned with great reluctance, on one side because they were compelled by fear of their elders. No, maybe our parents and husbands may realize that, but also compelled by Krishna's words, no, his promise. We will meet it again. I just say that in connection to the gopis' fear of their elders, when the real gopis returned to their individual homes after the rasa dance, the Purvacharyas mentioned that Yogamaya made the replica gopis disappear. It is said that Yogamaya creates some replica gopis at home, so the family members think, oh, they are here, they are not anywhere else. But when the real gopis go back home, the replicas like merge into the real gopis, and so on. So that was one thing. They were compelled by fear of their elders, but mainly by Krishna's reassuring words. No? Krishna's explained to them about the dynamics of Parakya and the necessity for separation, in order to enhance the pleasure of union. And Krishna said that if I embrace you in my arms continually and fulfill my desire continually, I will not be satisfied in my heart actually. Though my desire is fulfilled now, friends may create unlimited obstacles on seeing us together. So therefore go to your homes and we will meet again. So Krishna is reassuring the gopis, do not experience any melancholy. We will see each other soon. So let's continue. I have some more minutes. Today is our last meeting, so I have a license for overextension. So bear with me, please. The sun is rising, and finally, moon is retiring after a day of Brahma, after yugas and yugas, a night of Brahma, which is the same as the day. So the sun is rising, so the gopis are feeling, interestingly, why this has to happen so quickly. No, so quickly. But actually it was a night of Brahma. And when they were separated from Krishna, remember, they say, even a moment of separation from you is like yugas and yugas and yugas. They say that Truti yogayate tvama pashyatam. For those who cannot see you, even a Truti, which was like a 1700th of a second, is like billions of ages in separation. But in union, even hundreds of billions of ages, a night of Brahma, is just like passing like a blinking. So that's their subjective experience. That speaks about their Mahabhav, the ultimate ecstasy. Rupa Goswami described that's a symptom of that. It makes feel a moment in separation like an age or more, and an age in union like a moment or more. So the gopis are like this feeling. Whoa, this happened, this passed so quickly, why? And in this way they return to their homes. So in one sense, this is the end of this, almost the end of this Rasa Lila section. So this, I have some few remaining verses I will share with you, but here we find this ultimate revelation from the Bhagavad, this ultimate revelation from Krishna himself, which is, well, Bhagavad as Krishna is not different. No, one is the other one. Bhagavad is Krishna's literary presentation. So here we find the ultimate revelation of Krishna, of the Bhagavad. Not only the dance, the singing, but what is the very special ultimate revelation of the Bhagavad? The establishing of Sri Radha as the crest jewel of love. That thing that is supreme even for him, that thing that is totally worshipable even for the all worshipable. And which is that thing? Love divine. Sometimes it is said. Love divine. We are worshipping that. That's the ultimate altar, if you will. That's the content of the ultimate altar. So then, the Purvacharyas comment that after the gopis left with great reluctance and lamentation, Krishna himself, even though he said to them, please go, because that will help to relish even more, Krishna himself, nonetheless, he's experiencing great pain of separation from the gopis, from all his many lovers. But the Acharyas comment, but separation from Radha especially produced in him a disease which included all other diseases. No? A pain which included all other pain, because she is one who includes all other gopis, basically. All other gopis, babs put together make for Radha, but Radha even has some extra feature there. So in this way, Krishna was feeling a special pain by going through separation from Srimati Radha Thakurani. So in this way, the reciter concludes the description of the Rasa festival. Not the whole chapter yet. We have a few sections here before, but Sukadev concludes the description of the Rasa festival. So externally, it is said it was finished. The party is over. But internally, it is said that the Rasa continued. So this is important to understand, to again grasp even better the principle of divine separation and union in separation. And so the Rasa continued. What's the reason for this? Well, the gopis, having ended the Rasa dance and pained by having to return to their household duties, which was the only way that they were able to cope with such a reality, going back home, having to clean the house and to cook for my so-called husband and so on. Well, they became absorbed internally in the Rasa Lila, in the experience of Rasa Lila. Even though externally they were somewhere else, internally they were somewhere else. So all this dancing, singing, music, which was complete with all these pastimes, actually appeared directly in their houses, manifested internally. So the whole Rasa Lila dynamics appear in their houses, even though when they were not in Rasa Lila. So that's the dynamics of the gopis. During the day, they are engaging in Rasa Lila in the form of inner absorption. During the night, they are actually engaging in Rasa Lila with Krishna. But in the two moments, they are totally connected with this experience. After that, of course, as we mentioned, we are now in the very first day of Rasa Lila. But after this very first day, every single night, the gopis will celebrate Rasa Lila with Krishna. And eventually after that, even with the appearance of Radha Kund, Shama Kund, they will have an experience of it during the midday as well. So in this way, the whole thing is continuing building up to a higher and more upgraded expression. Now when we are in the Gopi Gita, eventually we will have the Jugal Gita, some few chapters after this. We are in 33rd chapter, 2 more chapters, 35. That's the Jugal Gita. And that will be the gopis singing during the day, in separation from Krishna, but at the same time having gone through the experience of all this night Rasa Lila, not before that. So that's a different type of separation that they sang in Venu Gita before meeting for Krishna for the first time and so on. So in this way, Sukadev Goswami is finishing his narration, full in trance. So now Parikshit Maharaj is also drinking the nectar of this Rasa Lila Katha, but also he started to become aware in external consciousness of his surroundings, the other people in the audience. So he contemplated a mixed audience there. Different types of people, as they say, not only devotees, not only pure devotees. So So he was thinking, maybe I can read their faces, and I understand that not all of them fully understood the Rasa Lila. So this can happen even in the Bhagavad. What to speak here? So that can happen. We have to be careful about how to go through this narration. So it is said that Parikshit, Sukadeva was in trance, and he was decided to continue going deep into the direction of the gopis' experience with Krishna. But before Sukadeva may continue with his narration, Sukadeva broke the trance of his guru to inquire from him. And which was his inquiry for the benefit of the audience, not so much for himself. So he asked, in a spirit of doubt, like suspicion, how is that the prince of Dharma, Krishna, was having an affair, having a rendezvous with the wives of other men, basically. So he was presenting the question as if the whole Rasa Lila was an immoral affair, thus addressing the concerns in the minds of some of the people in the audience that Parikshit could sense. So Sukadeva understood immediately who you are asking for this. You are not asking that for yourself. You are asking that for the people in the audience as well as for the audience in the future, who, like us, who are here in the Bhagavad and may feel uncomfortable by some details there. And again, Parikshit felt some lack of comfort in the audience there. So he was asking that. So Sukadeva responded in a very, again, philosophical way, making again a point of tattva. And he mentioned basically Shaktiman is interacting with himself in the form of Shakti. So he adopted a Abhed perspective. Non-difference between Shaktiman and Shakti. There's one. Everything is one. In the context of Achintya Bheda Bhed, part of the equation. Shaktiman, the energetic source, was interacting with himself in the form of Shakti. Shakti is non-different from Shaktiman. And it's different as well, but it's non-different. So nobody is to blame there. There's nobody else. There's Shakti and Shaktiman, and we are seeing his interaction. And he gives example like a boy playing with his shadow. I mean, we speak about the shadow as a separate thing, but you cannot really separate the shadow from the child. One is connected to the other. And as one is moving, the other is moving. So this way he emphasized the unity of Shaktiman and Shakti. And also he added to conclude, if you would like to contemplate the principle of Bhed, of difference. Okay, they are one, but they are different at the same time. So the gopis were different entities, individual beings, and they were married. So Sukadeva Goswami brings other point of tattva here. Again, not Parakiya Bhav, but Swakiya Bhav. He mentioned, actually, the gopis' husbands were also married with Krishna. Like implying, everything belonged to Krishna. Everything in tattva is Swakiya. Everything belongs to him. It seems to belong to someone else in the context of Leela and Parakiya. This is why Jiva Goswami, for example, he emphasized Swakiya all along his different commentaries to Ujjbal Nilamani, Gopal Shampu, and many other books. I mean, wherever he wrote something about this, he mainly emphasized Swakiya and not Parakiya. Because why? Some of the reasons is Jiva Goswami is our Tattvacharya. So he's the one to establish the clear Tattva Siddhanta foundation. And was in Tattva, there is no Parakiya, there is Swakiya. Everything belongs to Bhagavan. The gopis belong to Krishna. The gopis' husband belong to Krishna. Everything is there for his pleasure. So in this way, Sukadeva Goswami is following this same idea, making clear. Actually, there is no fault here at all. And then Sukadeva asks, what is Krishna's fault in embracing the gopis externally, since he's constantly embracing them within their hearts, internally? What is Krishna's fault in seeing the external bodies of the gopis, when internally he's constantly observing their mind and intelligence? He's the Antaryami, he's in everyone's heart. So he's doing that already internally, and here now he's doing that externally. What's the problem? He was already doing that. And the way he's doing that internally, nobody's criticizing him. So in a very expert way, Sukadeva Goswami is trying to clean the mind of all the audience. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he's finishing here his commentary to the Rasa Panchadhyaya. He mentioned that it should be understood in the context of the power of Rasa Lila to purify the hearer. Not only, now we get to this point, getting closer to the last verse of the Rasa Panchadhyaya. Not only Rasa Lila is not immoral, but it has its topmost power to clean from all impiety and immorality and bestow supreme auspiciousness and purity. So that's a full-fledged point in this section. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions, it should be understood that Krishna's rasa dance, his sweet rasa lila, which is the quintessence of all his pastimes, is like a powerful medicine consisting of mantras and jewels. Generally, mantras and jewels are acting like medicine. So Krishna's rasa lila, Vishwanath continues, has an inconceivable spiritual potency to attract the polluted hearts of conditioned souls. So hopefully that's going on during this series, at least in my case. The chief qualifications he mentions, interestingly, to attain this level of devotion involving Madhurya Rasa is to have a human body. So very, very, very reassuring, giving so much hope. Which is the main qualification for purifying and having a taste for this? Having a human body. Oh, I already have it. Of course, the next question is what to do with the human body. So through this human body, the point is we can develop a type of eagerness that you cannot develop in another species. It's not just having the vehicle, but knowing where to go with the vehicle. So we have to drive the vehicle in the direction of developing proper eagerness. That's what the human body is for, as we mentioned, for engaging in bhajan. The only qualification for raga marg, as you know, is not purity, it's not being free from sin, it's having laulyam, having eagerness. And you need a human body for that. Our bhajan, as we mentioned, what's the meaning of bhajan? Increase our eagerness. That's my daily affair, that's my dharma, that's my duty as a devotee, as a student, as a disciple. What's my duty as a disciple? I have to increase my eagerness every single day, a little bit more. And whatever else I have to do in this world, whatever other engagement, should be done in the context of, or as a byproduct of, our increasing of such eagerness. That's the point. Our main duty, our main identity is I'm a sadhaka. I'm an aspirant devotee. I'm a disciple of my Gurudev. That's my priority identity. Also, what's the priority duty to that priority identity? I have to increase the eagerness in my bhajan. That will give further adhikar for treading the raga marg. So whatever other thing I have to do on a relative platform in this world, that shouldn't be a priority. That should come after this, as a byproduct. As whatever result comes from my increasing of eagerness, that will take the form of other things that I have to do in this world to sustain my life. And in this way, that will be also part of my bhajan. So we should do all things in our life, from the most basic material maintenance to whatever, in such a way that that's helping to nurture the eagerness in our bhajan. So after this, Sukadeva Goswami, he continues making the point, very many important, clear points for us to really appreciate correctly the nature of Rasa Lila. So he mentions a famous section where he says, the position of great Ishvars, of great controllers, is not affected, even by actions that are apparently immoral. And he gives the example, they are like the fire which is devouring all impurity. If the fire is eating a whole forest fire, there may be some impure thing, but the fire will devour it and won't be affected by that. So the example that is given there is Shiva Mahadev. Mahadev, he became Nilakanta, blue-throated, by drinking poison. You know the famous section in the Bhagavad, where the ocean is turned to extract nectar, and many things are coming. On one side the devas, on one side the demons. So different things are coming. Well, this is a nice parallel to the process of bhajan. You start to churn your heart and many things come. But the very first thing that comes is poison. You engage in bhajan and kriya and will be an artanivriti. An artist will start to go off, but it will appear more apparently in your face. You think, oh, this is increasing, but no, it's just going out. So the poison is coming. It's a kalakut poison. It was a poison that was threatening the whole creation to kill itself, everyone. So all of them took shelter in Shiva, which at this point represents Guru Tattva, the principle of the Guru, who can deal with the anarthas of the disciple without being affected by them. It's not that the Guru is taking one's karma, literally. But Guru is taking our karma in the sense of he's accepting to deal with us, with our karma, and make that Shobhana karma. So Shiva took that poison, as you know. He drank the poison, but he was not swallowing the poison. He just retained the poison in his throat. So his throat became bluish, nila. His kanta, which means throat, became nila. So a new name came there, an ornament came. That's the idea. Any other person try to do that will be dead. But a capable person will be that, he will be ornamented. Nila kanta. So he became beautified by doing that. Only Bhagavan, in the same way, the point is, as Shiva, as someone only as a powerful controller like Shiva could do that, only Bhagavan Sri Krishna can engage in Rasa Lila. In other words, Sukadeva Goswami is giving some caution. Whoever imitates Krishna wants to perform his own Rasa Lila will die immediately. Like if you try to drink an ocean of poison, you are not Mahadev. Do not try to imitate Krishna. Do not try to take this literally, make it mundane, and eventually you yourself try to organize your own Rasa Lila. That happened, that's the point. He's saying that because he knew that will happen. And even though he said that, it's still going on in some people's place. So, let's go to the very last verse of this chapter, 33. And thus it's the very last verse of the whole 5 chapters about Rasa Lila, of the whole Rasa Panchadhyaya. This verse is considered as a Phalashruti, which means a sound which presents the fruit of going through this study. So Phalashruti means like a verse which will, similar to the Asirvad, which will speak but different at the same time, which comes at the end, in this case of a narration, and which mentioned the ones who hear this, the one who go through this study will achieve such and such. We find many verses like this in the scriptures. So, this Rasa Panchadhyaya is not the exception to the rule. So let me quote this verse, share some brief words here, and finishing our meeting today. So the verse says like this. Vikriditam brajavadhu bhiridham cha vishnu Shradham vitanu srinuyad atavarnayet yad Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam Hridrogamasya pashinotya tirena dhira. So Sukadeva is mentioning the fruit of going through this series of lectures that we were organizing here. Anyone who faithfully hears or describes the Lord's playful affairs with the young gopis of Vrindavan will attain the Lord's pure devotional service. Thus, he will quickly become sober and conquer last the disease of the heart. So, further, Sukadeva is confirming his previous points. And by going through this narration with faith, that's an important point. In all these blessing-like verses, you will hear always, if it's done with faith, that will happen. And according to the degree of faith, there will be a result, which in this case will be attaining pure bhakti. Actually, here it says Bhaktim Param Bhagavati. So the Acharya has also presented Bhagavati in connection to Sri Radha. Krishna is Bhagavan and she is Bhagavati. So Bhagavati, Bhaktim Param means supreme bhakti to Bhagavati. In other words, means Radha Darshan. For the ones who want that, it's quite recommended to go through this Rasa Lila section. That will be the ultimate fruit of properly studying these chapters, obtaining this ultimate devotional service in the form of Radha Darshan, or whatever other affinity one may have. And also, as it says, Pratilabhya Kaman, very quickly, also that person will become sober, Dhira, Pratilabhya Kaman, Hridrogam Asra Pahinotya Chire Nadira. Asru, very quickly, that person becomes sober and conquers lust, with its Hridrogam, which is the disease of the heart. So again, it seems the Rasa Lila is a lusty affair, but actually if you really understand it and benefit from it, you will be able to transcend lust altogether. So in his Sarartha Darshini, Vishwanath shares some words, and he says, one who faithfully hears and glorifies Krishna's rasa dance is described as learned here, Dhira, not as a pandit. Because that person, he says, is not doubting in a foolish way. No, he's not thinking, how can Krishna Prem appear if material lust is still present? That's a very important point here that many acharyas make with this verse. They say Krishna Prem will definitely appear in that person who is devoid of foolishness and who accepts the statements of the scriptures with faith. However, Vishwanath continues, Krishna Prem will not appear within those who have no faith in Krishna, no faith in Krishna Katha, or who offends Krishna's holy name. So the point is, even though you are full of lust, if you go through the Rasa Lila with proper guidance and faith, you will be cleansed from lust. It's not that you need to wait, I have to clean my heart from all lust, and then I will go through the Rasa Lila. This is not the instruction here. Actually, the opposite. How will you clean your heart from lust? By embracing bhakti. And here you are having a very upgraded version of it. So some words I wanted to share today to finish this class, and also in this way we are giving a close to our whole study of the GOPI GITA, which is, remember, GOPI GITA is the essence of this Rasa Panchadhyaya, and thus is the essence of the whole Bhagavat, the whole Vedanta, the whole Veda, the whole revelation. And we have had, I think, we are very fortunate, we have had the good chance of having a glimpse of the highest type of love in separation, and as well the most ecstatic corresponding union to that. So in this way, hopefully we are receiving some impetus to tread the path we will take to that type of love, or to the realm with this love is reigning supreme among many other charming varieties of divine love in Braj. So someday may we reach that goal. And let me finish with a nice quote that I found that was given in this connection. It says that this divine Rasa Lila is like the loving smile of the intimate devotee of Krishna, who is victorious and glorified for his ability to conquer Hari by his pure love. So in this way we end up glorifying Rasa Lila in the context of the intimate devotee of Krishna, how by the grace of those sadhus we have a chance to have a proper glimpse of this, being those sadhus the ones who conquer Krishna, who have the ability to conquer the unconquerable. Ajita becomes Jita by the strength of divine love. So we pray that we may be blessed, like this Phala Shruti is mentioning. So someday the last will be conquered in our heart. We may become really sober, and we may attain ultimate devotion to Sri Radha Krishna through all the Brajavasis, Parampara, Vaishnavas in Braj in the proper mood, Nityanavadip as well. So thank you all to all of you for your time and your participation. It has been really a very nice experience for me. I've learned a lot of things, so I'm also really much grateful and indebted to all of you for being there day after day. Thank you very much. But before finishing, I don't know if there are any questions. So if you have any question, we have some minutes for that.
Wondering if you could again say what Bhagavati means.
Well, Bhagavati is another addressing for Sri Radha. As you refer to Krishna as Bhagavan, so the female expression of Bhagavan is Bhagavati. So that will refer to Sri Radha. So the verse says, Bhaktim Param Bhagavati Pratilabhya Kaman. So Bhaktim means Bhakti, Param means supreme, and Bhagavati may refer to Bhagavan, may means supreme Bhakti towards Bhagavan, but also the Acharyas have presented Bhagavati can be also connected to she, to Bhagavati. So you can attain supreme Bhakti to Radha. So what's supreme Bhakti to Radha in the context of Gaudiya Vedanta? To attain Manjari Bhava or Radha Darshan. So that's the ultimate gift of this Rasa Lila for those who have that affinity.
Okay, thank you.
Something else? Okay. Thanks to all of you for your presence, and see you soon. We will share any news whenever we may have some new series going on. So Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Sri Sri Gaur Radha Madhav ki jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Gopi Gita ki jai, Sri Sri Rasa Panchadhyaya ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Primananda Hari Bol, Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyaiva Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Hari Bol.